Today was the 1950s Day Fair down here in the Northeast. Many of the toys, pets, and others had to work together to get the job done. Many attempted to finish their jobs as quickly as possible so they could enjoy their time at the fair, even though the fair was going to last a good 3 days anyway. While all that was going on, Russell, Sunil, and Kratz were on their way to the bustling woods incline. Due to a shortage of workers at the incline, the three had no choice but to work there for a little while. When they arrived to the incline, Rusty was very happy to see them. Well, if it isn't Russell, Sunil, and Kratz. Welcome back to the incline. Anywho, I must be off. Be aware of Duncan. Rusty set off with his slate trucks. Suddenly, Duncan entered the bustling woods incline with his slate trucks. Hello, Sunil. And, whatever your name is. Oh yeah, Kratz. And if it isn't my arch nemesis, Russell. Oh my god, we've been through this, Duncan. Well, it ain't over till I say it's over. Oh, knock it off, Duncan. If I do recall, Duncan, you've had a pretty bad safety record this year. And Duke says it's because you feel quote-unquote overworked. Pah! Why don't you shut up? And he set off to deliver his trucks. The three were already cross. Duncan only got worse as the day went on. Hurry up with my slate trucks, ball busters! Oh my goodness, Duncan, have some patience. The slate trucks are gonna take a while to load. You gotta learn to have some patience, Duncan. However, Duncan just ignored the three of them. Duncan had to wait at a signal in Albany, New York, when he saw Skarloey right next to him. I'll tell ya, Skarloey, I am sick of Russell and those other two. You know, Duncan, I used to have the same exact attitude as you when I first arrived here, but I quickly learned if I kept this behavior up, I'd be sent home in disgrace. You get my point, Duncan, right? Duncan didn't answer the question, instead replied by saying, Swedish fish, red dildo looking thing. Now, Skarloey tried to brush it off as a joke, but it didn't work like that. This affected Skarloey quite negatively throughout the day. Skarloey was taking some troublesome trucks for Duncan to take down in Seymour as he was going over the Seymour Bridge. Skarloey's driver noticed that Skarloey wasn't looking too great. What seems to be the problem, Skarloey? You look really sad. Oh, sorry about that, driver. Do I look like a Swedish fish dildo to you? No, not at all, Skarloey. Why? Because Duncan said that's what I look like. Oh, don't mind him, Skarloey. He'll learn for himself what he's doing. In fact, karma will get him one of these days, I promise you. Wanna talk to the boss about it? Oh yes, please. So it was decided that after they delivered the trucks, they would talk to the boss about Duncan. Duncan chuffed into the Seymour shunting yards and coupled up to the trucks. The trucks were full of flour and coal, and were supposed to be brought to a Walmart nearby. However, the trucks didn't want to move. Then they realized it was Duncan pulling them. Look who it is! It's Rock and Roller! He's so rusty, just like oil! The trucks found this hilarious. However, Duncan didn't. Quiet! Enough jokes! Our rock and roller is gonna treat us like this, huh? We'll show him! Duncan didn't listen, but it was probably best if he would've. Needless to say, Duncan was in a very bad mood. Duncan had to wait at a signal for another train to pass through him. Zoe was right next to him. Well, if it isn't Mr. Rock and Roller himself. I heard what you called Skarloey, and I am not happy about it. Pa, what does it matter to you? Hey, I'd be careful about what I say. Maybe you should get rid of that hideous attitude of yours. I'll maybe get rid of that hideous hat of yours. Zoe was enraged before she could even respond. Duncan set off. She could not believe Duncan would say something like that. Duncan grumbled all day and the trucks were sick of it. I can't believe the whole team is going against me. I'll show them. I'll show them. At the end of the day, the boss was not happy with Duncan at all. You know, Duncan, I was gonna let you have the day off tomorrow so you could go to the fair. But I guess that ain't happening now. I heard the way you were to Skarloey and the others, and I don't appreciate it one bit. Duncan was very angry. He was so angry that the next day he was very rough with the passengers. As Duncan was going over Rock Bark Canyon, he began to do his rock and roll session. Now, Skarloey did this a few episodes prior to this one, but he never meant to do rock and roll. It was because of icy conditions on the roads that made him do that. But Duncan did it purposely. Duncan rocketed by Freddie. I can tell Duncan is in for some trouble. I can tell a disaster is just waiting to happen.